Good afternoon, everybody. Earlier on, I think it's the first panel session, I've heard them mention somebody as worshiper, and I was like, I must catch in on this too, because I'm also a worshiper. My name is Isaac Odugbesan. I like to also be called Honorable Boba Shelu. It's very intentional because I help single people find love in Lagos. I run a dating community called Very Single Lagosians. And I also building a dating app that helps people connect people based on culinary choices. We have gotten 4 people married in this Lagos. So if you are single, I'm your guy. We've hosted 18 events and housed over 7,000 people. We're also hosting a 3-day carnival in Lagos at Eco Atlantic this December. Even just by the virtue of me sitting here, you'll find your partner. In Jesus' name. All right. I want to say welcome. This is going to be an amazing session. I want to say happy birthday to Dr. Vivian. Please wait for them. Happy birthday. Thank you. And so I have great people here. I have Mr. Ayo Extreme. I was in Abuja when you launched your book, Bajamela. I was there. But I did not give me invites. I did not enter, but I was there. I also have my great friend, Oladele, founder of Our Cash, recently just exited. I also have my friend of 20 minutes, Awa. Nice to meet you. And I have Mr. Victor. I am very elated for this particular summit because there's no better time for us to speak about creative economy than this. I mean, we're doing so much, and I promise you the creative industry has the potential to become a catalyst for economic growth. I don't want to bore us with numbers, but the creative industry contributes to about 2.3% of the national GDP, and it's valued at $4.5 billion. Nollywood alone is valued at $600 million, and we produce about 2,005 movies annually. The fashion industry alone is about $4.5 billion. I mean, employment rates, we have 104 internet users in this country as of today. Right? Employment rates, the creative industry has employed over 4.2 million people in the past year alone. We have a great testament to it. We have people like MC Lively in the house, our Victor, Ayo Extreme, Dele, Waka Waka Doctor, nice to see you. Great people that are also employers of laborers, and they have done great stuff for the industry. So we're here to speak about what we need to move further. How many of us believe that infrastructure is needed? Can I see your hands if you believe that infrastructure is needed? Exactly. So we are here to ask tough questions and how we can, what infrastructure is needed and how, what's the role of the public and private sector. Also to understand how we can get inclusive infrastructure, because we can be carried away that Lagos is the hub of entertainment, but there are a lot of things going on in Oshogbo, in Maiduguri, how do creatives have access to this infrastructure? So put your hands together for yourself, and if you have questions, just let us know. So I would be beginning with the first question for today, and I'm just going to dive straight into it. The way I will ask you this question, I'll call your name and ask question, because I know that you're can answer. I'm joined by astute professionals, guys. Please put your hands together for them once again. These are the people that can answer our questions. These questions are for me. I stayed up all night till 2 a.m. yesterday because of you, sir, Mr. Extreme. Because the first question is for you. Yeah, this is joking. So yeah, the Nigerian creative industry as a whole, what do you think are the pressing infrastructure that's needed? And also how the pressing infrastructure and how we need to prioritize this infrastructure. So you can mention like 4 or 5 and say, this is the top of the list, and this is what is needed at this time to make significant impact. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon once again, everyone. I think I'll just close this. So I think, first of all, we have to understand and accept that Nigeria's creative ecosystem is actually like the biggest in Africa. We should understand that. And I'll be talking as a government official. For us, when we first came on board, we knew that we just needed to make a difference, you understand? And what we did was to initiate a program to have creative hubs all over Nigeria, in every state in Nigeria. I think that's one thing we lack in Nigeria. I feel if we have creative hubs in areas in Nigeria, in local governments in Nigeria, it would help a lot of creatives in developing themselves. So we're working on that already. I'm just going to be going straight into what we've done. Also, as you could, I don't know if you've seen recently the upgrade on the National Theatre. The National Theatre is an infrastructure that every creative should tap from. MC Lively wants to do his show, he should be able to go there to do his show. Do you understand? We've upgraded that. You would see we're commissioning that very soon. And also in Nigeria, I think we should actually have, I don't know what they call this, this plug and play event centers where you really do not need to bring, for instance, for a program like this, you really do not need to bother about the sound, about the stage, you understand? So these are things I think we need in Nigeria. And one mistake we always make is we think the government should do it all. No, we can't do everything. And that's why we are committed in partnering with a lot of private sector guys to build things like this. So for us, we feel having creative hubs in Nigeria, improving the current infrastructures we have, the National Gallery, we're working on the National Gallery. I'm sure you would know that Nigeria doesn't really have a National Gallery, an actual gallery, but we're already working on that, having our own National Gallery. We're working on Abuja City for creatives too, where you come, you can shoot your movies, you can shoot whatever you want to do, and you get off. So those are the things we're working on and we've done so far.
All right, please put your hands together for him. I have various follow-up questions, but I would come back to you later. It's funny how you say that government and private sector should be involved drastically. Even just speaking about contribution to GDP, I mean, you go to some countries where you walk into the city, they earn up to $60 just to check a museum, and it then helps the community. I also have questions to talk about digital infrastructure, but I'll come back to you. Let me let you rest, please. I'll come back to you. All right, I would like to go to Victor right now. Nice to meet you again. Are you good? Do you want some water?
I'm good.
Okay. I would like you to speak about, in terms of what he just said now, in terms of the private sector, what are the roles you think that the private sector, can also contribute to this, how we can contribute for infrastructure, given to the creative industry. Hauwa, next. Well, speak first.
Yeah, I think the first thing is for us to be a little less cynical, although we have justifiable reasons to be cynical of the government. We have very valid reasons, but if we are then fully cynical, we are unable to maximize the things that they are doing. So by leaving some benefit of the doubt, we are able to access some of the programs. Because sometimes I also am aware that sometimes government launch some things and they don't even have enough good applications from the private sector or people offering to take it up. So I think some optimism, some opening of our arms, some preparation as well. So sometimes there are also private sector enterprises applying for something but not doing their due diligence in that sense. So I think if we can apply some more optimism and then get ready and then reach out as well. Sometimes also these guys are more accessible than it appears, because sometimes reaching government feels like something you have to know somebody before you can do it. But I'm sure that you can ask for his card and it would be accessible. Am I right? Yes, so I think that's...
The way Ayo is looking at you, like, we'll open group chats so that we can access you.
Yes, so getting ready and then being a little less cynical and opening our arms a little more to go to government partnerships.
Yeah, so for me, I'm just going to ask you one more question before I move. So I know that part. I know about the part of collaboration, and I think that word has been overflogged pretty much. Everybody talks about collaboration. There are like maybe 1,000 summits like this. We talk about it. I'm speaking about now, I want you to speak about actionable plans. So I'm saying this because if you are a beneficiary to the creative industry as a private sector, what are the things you are putting or you can put in place? You don't have to have been doing it. So you say, you know what, I can do this thing for the people in my industry to uplift people. So let me give you an example. If you have benefited from digital products, maybe you have a YouTube stuff that's going on well for you and you're doing great numbers. The difference between yourself and the student or person seated somewhere in their house or in Unilag is that they don't have adequate knowledge, sometimes funding, sometimes. So as a private sector, what's the thing you think that you can do to that?
I would take some inspiration from my own journey. What were the pivotal things that once I solved, I was able to move further ahead? And the first would be equipment. So some people, although I also know a photographer right now, one of the top photographers in the country, who made the most of his phone while he couldn't yet afford a camera. But that's an exception. That's an outlier story. A lot more people could probably become photographers if they had access to being able to get an equipment or get funding to get an equipment. So I would say funding specifically for equipment, laptops or cameras or whatever you need depending on what you are doing. And the next one would be, Lagos is already very overpopulated sometimes, but the truth is, because I'm someone like, I come from Akure. I schooled in Akure, yes, so it's not Harvard, by the way. Relax, I've busted our bubble. It's not Harvard we went to, it's FUTA. I busted it, but I'm sorry. And
It's Harvard in FUTA.
Yeah, post-FUTA, there was a need to come to Lagos. And to be honest, when I eventually did come and was able to settle in Lagos, it meant a lot of difference, exposure-wise, meeting people-wise. But being able to come to Lagos is a huge gap of where to stay. Rent in Lagos to someone outside Lagos sounds insane. It does not make sense. And crossing that border is just incredibly difficult. So many people are stuck in quotes. Yeah. Outside, they could use being closer to events like this, being closer to orbs, because we don't have these things all over the place. So if I had a personal project to fund, to be honest, it would be some living orb, where you could have people stay in for 6 months till they find their footing and go out there and do stuff.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Please put your hands together for him. I think Rent in Lagos should have his own summit, where we bring realtors, landlords, agents also. Yeah. I think the culture shock for me, and I have lived in Lagos all my life, moved to Abuja some time, come back to Lagos. I see they call it culture shock. The rapid increase is crazy, but Ayo Extreme is here. I should send you my bill.
Rent is not creative sector.
It's creative. It
No,
makes
it's
me
not
create.
creative.
Yeah, it makes me
Focus on
create. All right, I want to move to Awan right now. So for me, I want you to speak on the knowledge, level and knowledge gap in the role of private sector. And also we're talking, everybody's speaking about, I like what you said, getting hubs and all, but how many of us understand that what we are doing right now is not something that you can find in our curriculum? I don't think there's how to be a social media manager in any school. Maybe the closest we can get is marketing. And even the marketing that they teach is really outdated, right? Master classes are the ones that are helping out, doing stuff. I run a digital marketing agency. I studied computer science, and I promise you that none correlates. I had to learn by myself, self-study. So, Awa, for you, what are the things that you think that you can do in terms of your role? I'm a person that always is successful, social media influencer. Successful. Thanks so much. I should take a picture with you and buy land in your name. So what are the things that you can do in terms of knowledge gap? Because trust me, I think that your videos are even so amazing, and it's not even the norm. It's not you put in camera and talk. It's that you are talking here before you know you're behind the fridge. I'm like, Awa, stay one place. Let's hear you. And it's so comical and it's interesting. So what are the things that you can do in terms of the role as a private sector to help this, help us, Awa, help us.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I think that, I don't know, does anyone here know Quinta? Yes, Quinta Brunson. Yes, thank you. So I'm going to use Quinta as an example because that's someone that I look up to, someone that I'm highly inspired by. She makes, it was on the news recently that she makes $400,000 per episode. Quinta started out as a writer for BuzzFeed, and I'm getting to the point of the private sector. When I started, I used to write for CREST TV. And even though I was employed by CREST, what CREST did for me was not only did it teach me how to become a better storyteller, they also started giving me credit for my work, which meant that they didn't have to do that. CREST is not a government agency; it's privately owned, and they didn't have to give me credit, but they gave me credit. That put me out there. That put me on the map. And it's the same as Quinta. Quinta used to work at BuzzFeed, or at least that's what I know about her. And then she became a content creator, and then a writer, and then she had a YouTube series, and now she's on TV, and she's making all this money. And so I think that it's very important to, as a creative, to put your head down. Don't try to be like the bigger people. Don't be Mr. Lively is here. He has paid his dues. So I think it's really important for you to learn. Be open to learning. Be open to learning from these from the private sector. This man, I drag him all the time. We have beef, but sometimes you just have to stand up and do things for yourself. Yes, the government is supposed to help us. It's their job. But if the government is doing it, but maybe they are just not doing it from outside. I don't know. I've not seen any alert, but anyway, let's continue. But you have to get up and you have to push for yourself. You have to drive. You have to push yourself out there. Put yourself out there. Because if you don't put yourself out there, nobody's coming to your room to come and bring you outside. So nobody's not coming to your room to come and bring you outside. Ayo is not going to come to your room, right? So for the private sector, I benefited heavily from that. And I think that that's how the gap can be closed. Be open to learning. Be open to interning. Be open to learning from these people. And it doesn't have to be from a big influencer or a big storyteller. In where you currently work, be open to learning from these people, because these are the people that are going to help you. And that's how I think the private sector has helped creatives, and he's still helping creatives. Thank you.
All right, let's put the hands together for her. Amazing insight. I also just want to say that also when we mention government, I know we feel like he's not the only person in government. He's not the only person.
It's the one who can do.
I also know that the job of the government is just to create an enabling environment, and quite frankly, I think that the major thing that we face is access to information that is relevant to people. I'm going to speak about some access to funding that I know in the creative industry that the government has put in place already, but we need to know practical steps to access those things. There's a $500 million loan accessible to creative 600, yeah. So there's accessible to $600 million loan to creative. It's called the CFI, creative. Another one. You're talking about another one. You see, there are a lot. But we need to know which one. How do we, practical steps, and what are we putting? Are we going to drop our car or land to get these loans, But yeah, we'll go to that. But I want to speak to Dele. Dele is my friend, guys. And I'm going to tell you why I say he's my friend. Because he's a successful tech entrepreneur that has existed at his company, did great stuff. Please put your hands together for, Dele, great guy, digital investments. I want to speak to you about digital investment. So I think one of the things that 2020 taught us is that digital products are useful. How many of us created content in 2020? How many of us became content creators after 2020? You didn't have a choice because you were home all day. And I myself started to be in front of a camera and say, guys, alpha, we can do this. And then we started to understand the rudiments behind creating content and all. But Dele, tell us from the fintech angle, what is the role of digital investments, in the creative economy? What are the things that are necessary to know in that sector, so that we can know and, help us to do better?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Don't mind my television voice. So basically, when you talk about digital investment, I don't tend to look at putting infrastructure in place or so. For me, when I talk about digital investment, I talk about the people around me, the graphics guy, the UI UX guy, the front-end guy, basically what they do at Full Gap. Those are the guys that I feel that are my own assets. I do not need to come to an office to achieve whatever I want to achieve. Growing up for us, let me use Victor as a case study. We were together with the first set of guys who started graphics. Futa, three of us, Victor, it wasn't like a competition. Victor was very, very good with correct draw. There is Sonny, who is Rela's friend, who is very, very good with Photoshop. I was very good with one very odd something, fireworks. And people tend to look at us and want to basically learn. But then I think 2010, 2011, there was no hub, like Ayo said. There was no hub. There's no place to learn. So for me, I feel that my own digital assets are basically like people around me. One of our other complaints, what we basically do is to train people to learn tech skills. For those who follow me very well on Twitter, I used to post something and I say, you must learn tech skills by fire, by force. And one very good thing about it is, when you have these guys around you, even if you don't have an office, they will work, investments will come in. And from those guys working, you will be able to get an office to go to. You'll be able to go from 2, 3, 4, 5 staffs like we did to over 50 staffs in a very short period of time. And look at, let's use post-COVID as an example. During post-COVID, everybody thought we were going to lose our jobs. And that was where probably we got to know a lot of TikTokers. I never knew DJ Chicken was before, until after that COVID time, you just sit at home, you see people on Clubhouse app saying interesting things, amazing things. And we left COVID, the world has not ended. So for me, I feel that my own digital assets are people around me. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you so much. I'm back to you, Ayo. This is a very, very, very key topic for me, access to financial resources. Some of the things we just spoke about now. There are a bunch of things that we can do. And I want you to speak about practical steps. I know that the government is doing a lot. I know. You know, I read about it. I see it. I know. But how do we get access? Because one of the things that has helped, we know that we are moving away from oil. I don't even think anybody can be in oil anymore to support the country. But yes, there's still that. But the creative industry can help out to do a lot of things. You know, from what we spoke about, museums to people to assets and all. What are the practical things we can do to get access? We don't want access. We want access now. Let's know that if there are funding opportunities, because if you pick 20 people here, empower them for the next, and when I mean we, I don't mean you in person, I mean the government, empower them for next year and say, for your digital product, you get $10,000 each, and then you put them through a school organized by maybe Daily and MC Live and say, okay, creative, blah, blah, blah. Let's teach you how to do this and do that. What can we do? MC Live is saying he doesn't want to do, we must do. Okay, you want to collect $10,000. You know, so what are the practical steps and how can we collaborate and get these things?
All right, thank you very much. Funding is a very important talk in the creative sector, because when you want to buy your camera, you're not going to go and say, oh, give me a camera, I'll see you later, or you understand. And we know that funding is actually very important. One thing I always say is, due to the fact that it's the first time we have a ministry, do you understand, for this sector, definitely it's not been easy, you know, we're laying the foundations and all. And for us, getting funding from the government, I always tell people, is actually the easiest thing to do. So we watch what you do. If an hour comes tomorrow and says, I need funding for it, we will not say because she abuses the president every day, every night, we won't give her the funding. We would give her because she's a citizen. Yes, now you always abuse my organ, don't worry.
Oh, that's not the one I'm arguing with.
Yeah, we'll give you if you come. Yeah.
We'll go together.
Yes.
Let's create
Thank
something.
God, we have witnesses
No,
here.
so
in case I come, I write letter. Dear,
So one thing you should know, we have an open door policy. We are for everybody. We are for everybody. So anybody that comes up, you don't expect to send a proposal to a governmental institution, and we check your portfolio or your profile, and we're seeing nothing there. And you go back and say, oh, the government isn't doing anything. No. If you're a photographer, if you're a documentary photographer, and you send and you say, oh, I'm telling a story on Nigeria's culture, something, and we see what you're doing, and we say, okay, we actually can relate to this. This is actually for a good cause. Yes, we'll look for the funding for you. That's one thing my office has been doing. We're facilitating funding for a lot of people. But, you know, the creative sector is also a funny sector. I told Hauwa there. Somebody will collect money. They won't tell you, they won't tell the rest.
I think it's very important that you ask those people to put that out there because we don't know these things.
So when we
don't
tell them
see
to put
these
it out there,
things.
they think it's for political reasons. I
Why
don't know
are
if
they
you
coming to
understand.
you?
Why are they coming to us? You should ask them. There are people in your sector.
Me?
Yeah.
Have I seen money?
There are people in your sector. So let's be very practical. You want funding from the government. Even me, I want funding from the government. Now, it's not just the federal government alone. We keep forgetting that we have the state governments too.
Yeah.
But I see us holding just the federal government all the time. And one thing you should know that the state government is actually, they have that implementation powers more than us in Abuja. Abuja is for everybody, the whole Abuja, all policies and everything. But it's the states, Lagos state government supports creatives all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Every event, you see Lagos State Ministry of Tourism and Culture, you see Madam Toke Benson, you see Idris Aregbe, you see Dami Marshall, they support. Other states too should actually plug into this and support. But everybody wants to come to Abuja for support. And no problem, come to us where your dad is. We'll give you the support. Do you understand? We'll support you guys all the time. So it's just practical. Be very serious about whatever you're doing as a creative. Nobody, even the private sector, they're not going to give you money if they can't see value.
Yeah.
You don't expect some people doing content on, like your own content, doing marriage. Are you really into that thing?
Yes, I am. Check. I'm very.
So yeah, any single person here, yeah,
No,
like
no,
them.
that's in a more refined way.
Okay. But you understand my point. You
Yeah.
actually have to, whatever you're doing as a creative, if you're looking for funding, even from private sector or the government, it actually has to have value. Value is actually important. That is the new currency. Do you understand? Sorry, I was going to say something briefly. When you mentioned, don't worry, it's not to you, don't worry. You mentioned something about learning content, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing we've done is we realized that we're in a 21st century where content creation, photography, creative industry is actually the next big thing. And we feel like if we have kids that we've actually caught young, you know, it would actually be easier for them. For me, I started learning photography when I was in GS1. I started shooting when I was in GS2. I've been shooting almost all my life. So what we've done also, I'm not sure if we read the news often, the government actually just, Ministry of Education just included skill learning or something into the syllabus. So when you're in secondary school, you must learn a skill. Photography, videography, it is actually very important. And I think that we're trying to get it right now, you know,
Yeah.
with our current administration. I think you should clap for us, please.
Yes.
Our clap for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please put your hands together for him one more time.
When is he running for office, by the way?
No. On the flip side, I am a testament that government do support. I'm running a 3-day carnival, like I said, and the Ministry of Tourism in Lagos supported me. I did not know them from anywhere. I just walked into Alausa, and I said, you know, and we have a whole press conference. But like he said, before I was able to get that kind of confidence, I had done 18 events, hosted over 8,000 people. And so I just showed track record and I said, let's plug this. It was plug and play. You know, however, the next question, just on you before you go, I apologize, Ayo. In terms of, and you have answered a bit of it, but I also want you to come up so that, because there's been an overcorrection in recent times in terms of where people get access to information for, I think more women get access these days, but we love them and we like it like that. However, what I'm concerned about is policy to include some of these things in our curriculum, not just at secondary school level, even all the way to university. I don't think it's too late for a year 2 student to learn about social media or even put that as a course on his own. What is government doing? Apart from that, digital YouTube should be a syllabus. YouTube alone. Yes, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what the Americans do. Beyonce is a course you can study in the university, somewhere in, I think, Alabama also, because she shows success, right? So what is the government doing towards that?
I like this question. It's a very practical one. I think 2 weeks ago, we were at Lens for Good in Ibadan with Hauwa and Temi. And, you know, I met the VC of University of Ibadan, and I brought this thing up. I feel like we actually have to work closely with our institutions too. yet it might be very difficult for them to make it a course or something you must learn. But it can be like a general studies, something, GNS or something. So what we're trying to do with some schools, most schools in Nigeria, is to talk to, I still keep coming to the private sector. Do you understand? I'm more of a private sector guy, like, oh, let's collaborate together. For University of Ibadan, we're trying to build a creative hub inside the school for students.
I think we should come to that, please. Let's come to
Please.
that.
Look at University of Lagos. My friend and brother had something there, Madhouse. Most students in University of Lagos go there for their events. They go there to learn. They go there to, share ideas. So another thing we're going to do is just to, pick schools all over Nigeria, talk with the university council, give us this land. We want to build a creative hub. It's just going to be open for every creative. You can't force someone to be a creative. That's one thing. It's when you want to learn. It's when you want to tap from the anointing there. That's when you go. Do you understand? So we're actually working closely with universities in Nigeria, setting up hubs and all. It's not just for states. We should have in schools in Nigeria.
Please, let's put our hands together. That's brilliant. I want to say that we would take practical steps, right, to get these things done in terms of access to funding, in terms of if you are in Unilag now, you see find out how you can collaborate and do stuff at Madhouse, just so that we just don't speak and then it goes like that. Thank you so much. We have less than 4 minutes to go. I want to go back to our quickly, and now I want you to speak from thought leadership, to speak about how, I know that it's questions that some people might have, to speak about how you handle creative block, and because I see that there's one thing to get access, do this, but I think that the greatest ingredient in the creative industry is consistency, right? If you can do this over and over again, how have you been able to, from a writer, transition and also handle creative, block as a creative?
I think that it's unavoidable as a creative. You will have that block. Writers have it all the time. I think that it's just really important to know that it's normal and it will happen. So if you're going through like a creative you're at a creative standstill, you don't know what to do, I think it's very important to look around you. A lot of people think, oh, before I create content, it has to be, well-rounded, it has to be perfect, it has to be a full thing, a solid stuff. But I think it's really important to know that anything is content. Anything at all is content. It's fine to burn out. It's fine to take a break. I will always advise people to take breaks, watch movies, play games, anything you need to do. But also know that your content does not have to be the best in that sense. Anything is content. You could walk out of your house. You were just talking about rent. I talk about rent all the time. I'm currently house hunting. It's going terribly. But it's content. I just have to set up my camera, talk about my chronicles of house hunting, and someone can relate. And trust me, whatever it is you do, someone can relate to it. So I think with creative blocks, or when you're at a creative standstill, just know that. Also know that you're a creative. Go and look at all the things that you've done. It's not another person that did it. It's you. You are still the one that will do it again. Sleep, wake up, you will do it. So that's how I walk past my creative block. Thank you.
Amazing. Please put your hands together. Put your hands together for our. I think that's so profound. For anyone looking to delve into or you're already a content creator, these are some of the challenges that you face, and this is how you can move further. I'm just going to have Oladele speak one more time, and also Victor. So I just want you guys to speak about the opportunities, that are in the creative industry, so that people can also know, and also how we might be missing something in terms of infrastructure, because it's not a space that we're just coming into it. It's like somebody that has just newly become a father. You have not been a father before, but you will learn on the job. So we're learning on the job, right, guys? We're learning on the job. So speak to one or two opportunities in the creative industry that we can latch onto in terms of infrastructure that maybe government is not even looking at, or in the private sector can do more to. And same question for you also, but please, Victor, in 30 seconds, give us that, and then we'll close.
Great. My perspective into opportunities would be, I'm not going to tell you about anything new. It's exactly what it is you're doing, whether that's content creation or photography or videography. But what I need you to change is the perspective with which you're doing it, which is it needs to stop being a side hobby or a side hustle. I mean, it can practically be a side hustle. That is, you have a job and then you're doing it, then it is. But when I say side hustle, I mean in how you take it, in how seriously you carry yourself while at it. So, a tool like ours, for example, at Full Gap, aids people to be able to like engage their clients professionally, invoices, contracts, being able to document bullet point by bullet point what it is you are supposed to do. And I feel like when we all take things more seriously, both in how we market ourselves and how we present ourselves, we can maximize these opportunities more.
Thank you. Please put your hands together for him. Quickly, Olade, just in 10 seconds, please. Just tell us what, opportunities.
Okay, for me, I quite believe that you as a person, you're an asset, whatever you are doing, whatever business that you are involved in, whatever you find yourself doing, do it very well. You literally do not know who is looking at you. I've been a 3 times founder. I chased an investor for 7 good years till the guy invested in the business. Whatever you are doing, do not give up. If you know someone who can invest in your business, keep running after the person. In fact, they will name you names. This one wants to come and ask for money again. Don't mind. Continue to tell them that this is who you are, this is what they can gain from you, and this is how far you can go when they invest in your business. So if you're a UI UX guy, if you're a front-end guy, if you're a web guy, if you have a product that you want to do, start just like me and Victor. I think I used to know Fort Canvas when I was in 200 level, and he used to know Cretank when he was in 200 level. Who gave us money in Akure? No single person. But we kept doing it. We became popular, and today the business is 5 years. So just keep doing it very, very well. People are watching, and you don't know who would invest by tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, please put your hands together for him. It says, pursue your investor until they block you. Even if they block you, use another number to pursue them. That's what I see from that. Thank you. It is very, very profound that you take some of these things. We'll take questions now. Also, there are lots of sectors that we can get into. I'm doing dating. It's been amazing. Dr. Waka Waka is doing travel. He has brought something else different. You can create different products from this creative economy. And we're here to collaborate. Ayo is here to collaborate. Do you understand? And so we'll take questions because time's up already. Do we have one question? All right, there's a question over there. Just quickly, briefly, because our time is up. Briefly. Not necessarily.
Hi, okay,
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Well done. My name is Phoebe, and my question is to the Honorable. When you were speaking, I was going to ask a question, but you answered it during your speech. And that is about the government funding creative projects. Now, my question is, how can these things be assessed? Is it really out there in the open? Is there a process to go through? Do we need to know somebody? Because one of the challenges that creatives face, especially filmmakers, because that's what I am, is how to access funds in Nigeria. Most times it comes from every other place that is not Nigeria. So I'd like for you to shine light on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I quickly answer?
Yeah, please.
All right. So we're in a digital world right now. Clear example, the Honorable Minister for Innovation and Communications, Bosun, he funds a lot of guys in technology with, I think, 3 MTT or something. Likewise, in the Ministry of Art, Culture, Creative Economy, we have the IDICE program. It's opened there. Recently, we had the Providus loan. It was actually out there, 5 billion. We gave creatives in Nigeria. 10 is looking up. You people don't read news. So it's out there. Do you understand? It's not, so we're not in that government where people think, oh, it's for them, it's for their people. No. We have just random people out there benefiting from these things. Do you understand? Information is actually very key. I think from our own end also, we would actually pay more attention in pushing these things out. Maybe work with states, information commissioners and all. work with people like Hauwa to let her to do a skit on what President Tinubu is doing in the creative sector, make her tweet about it, which is very important, yeah. And I'm sure she would do it. You know,
Yes,
she's a
she
good
would.
she's a good Nigerian.
Yeah,
Come on.
she would.
Yeah, thank you. Don't
The
reply.
jogging I'm getting is not enough.
Please put your hands together for him. I know these things, and I can testify that these things are out there. But like you said, we need to, how many of us know when an insurance company is pushing some of their products, they go all out. We want to tell the government also to go all out so that we can see and we get access to grants. But these things are there, I promise you. I know, right? I know very well that these things are available. All we need to do is, if you're in that sector, if you Google the creative infrastructure funding right now, you would see over 10 banks that give you forms to fill and get access to those things. Also, we need to understand that we need to go cover, there's a loan culture that we're really scared about, that if you collect money, we'll not pay back, we'll pay back, right? But let's know that, these things are accessible. You have a question? We're done, oh. We're done. Last question. Oh, yeah, please, let's take it.
Good afternoon.
All right.
Okay, so my question is directed to Mr. Ayo Adeagbo. So you talked about the fundings, and so as much as we know that these fundings are there, we know that we know the platforms are there. But one thing for creatives is that it's hard for us to gain access to these things, especially when you're a young creative and you're starting up your business. So I'm familiar with the Bank of Industries, and I've applied several times through them. Not just me, a few friends of mine. But now the criteria and the requirements that they give to you. So one time they asked for, I think you needed someone in a level 13 position in office and a certain amount of money. That person has to have a certain amount of money. So I was asking myself, if I have access to these people, will I come to you? Because it makes no sense if my dad has 100 million stacked somewhere and I'm coming to you for ₦1 million, literally. I could literally have gone to those relatives and gotten those money and gotten exactly what I need. So, as you also said something about the government actually doing stuff, which I believe they are doing, but information is not actually going to the grassroots, which is basically where it is needed the most. So, for example, let's say when the customer, there was a period of time, there was a particular time when the customer was selling rice at a particular price. Now, those information was passed within the office. Now, it didn't circulate to the general public. So it's, sir?
How did you get to know if you said it?
You always have people in
Okay.
those sections. so the thing is, those of us at the ground level don't get this information.
Okay.
So I think one thing that should have been done is, the easiest thing is probably to work with the local government chairman, and since we have like different wards and representatives and all, it's easier for them to pass those informations around. And also with other creatives that are in the business. Because, for example, if I'm into skit making, I'm looking at someone like Hauwa. So if I should make a skit and say, oh, the government is doing this and this, it's easier for me to gain those information. But when they just put it out there and the office just do a random publication, we don't get those informations.
Okay, thank you so much. I think you even give more an advice than question.
Yeah, I was going to say you already answered.
Yeah.
I get it's easy. From the way he's been talking, he's actually very passionate about this.
Yeah.
First of all, you should realize BOI, it's a bank. Bank na bank. They are after their money back. They are giving you, and they're already thinking, how are we going to get our money back?
Yeah.
Do you understand? So definitely, for us, we can't tell BOI or Access Bank or First Bank how to operate their loan schemes and everything. Do you understand? We have Sterling Bank. Sterling Bank is doing a lot for creatives in Nigeria. Do you understand? Now, about the information, you even answered that question already, Chairman. We're going to be working with local government chairmen too. And I also said it earlier, hold everybody responsible, not just guys in Abuja. Hold your local government chairman responsible, hold your governor responsible, hold your SA in the state responsible. Thank you.
Isaac, sorry, 1 minute.
Oh,
One of the problems that we guys have in this part of the country is we're always looking for funding from government every time. And at the end of the day, if you go there and you become disappointed, you will now be dragging the president of the country on Twitter, or probably be dragging your governor. See,
Ayo's eyes.
no, because I've been pitying him. When you guys say government, see, let me give you a very, very calm explanation. You need to look for a way to speak to people who are around you. If you go meet MC Lively, say, oh, I need 5,000 naira, for instance, you might probably feel that he doesn't have. But he has. He is actually looking for a place to put his money. You might go and me relax and say that you need 2,000. So even your mother or your father at home might probably be looking at you to become more responsible and take a particular position. Dad, why not trust me with this so amount and see what I can achieve with it? Thank you.
All right, thank you. Put your hands together. I think far beyond funding, I think access to information is very key. Funding can come, and please, the guy that spoke, even if you have raised $200 million, that same company will still raise $10,000, right? If they tell you that you are 13%, it doesn't mean that you have 100 million. As a business, you still need 5 million. It will help the business grow the more. A lot of founders know this. I want to, please, we'll rise up on our feet. Just give a resounding round of applause to all panelists that have come out here to share information. Yeah.